Hey, I'm Lover, and I'm here with Milky.
I won't let go. Time stands still.
Music started for me in primary school, year 4, and I heard there was bass guitar tryouts during the last session of school, and that seemed like a fantastic way for me to not do any school. So I went to that and learned a bit about the bass. I was like, yes, pretty cool. And then the teacher's like, yep, all the practices are during school time. I was like, fantastic. I don't want to do any more classes as possible. And I knew that from year 4 onwards. So yeah, I started playing bass, and then I was like, why doesn't this sound exactly like the songs that I dig? Which at the time was like Blink-182 and stuff. And then I realized, I need an electric guitar. And so I started learning electric guitar. And then I was like, this is pretty cool, but also I would like to sing. And then bada bing, bada boom, a couple of singing lessons later and various band iterations. And we are here at the Lover solo project. And yeah, I do like to keep it pretty positive. I think, especially writing music for a long time, the kind of usual lean is to something a bit sadder or moodier. But more recently, to be honest with you, I've just been super happy with how things are going, like my personal life, even despite challenges and whatever. And I think that's what Rookie Era kind of encapsulates, is that rough around the edges, human experience, that obviously bad things happen and blah, blah. But you can either be scared by it or, take a sad route with it. Or you can just lean into it, embrace those faults, and have an optimistic outlook. So that kind of informed a lot of the writing on this one, and I think it comes across hopefully in the music and the lyrics and stuff like that. I'm really big on collaboration, and I think working with different people, kind of the sum is, sum of the parts is the greater the whole, the sum of the, you know what I'm saying, is a key in my music. And I think these collaborators push me to maybe do something more distorted or do something more yelly. I think my natural leaning is definitely more in like the soft boy, acoustic folk, whatever you want to call that vibe. But yeah, having these people around me kind of to take that sound, to take my voice, particularly in the tracks Wow, Nick Ward really pushed me to try yelling and just pretty much go for it. And same with the closer, Close Your Eyes. Campbell was big on trying to push my voice and see how far I could take it. And I think it shows in the music, and I'm super stoked with how that's all kind of progressing and how I'm sort of pushing different elements of my music and art. So happy. Yeah, so I think for me, a lot of it's guitar-based music. So it just starts on acoustic guitar and kind of humming out different ideas and seeing what rises to the surface. Again, with this project, I think in comparison to maybe older music, I was trying to just be a bit more natural, just seeing what flows out rather than trying to think like I need to write like a great song today or whatever. I think the ideas that bubble to the surface, even if they don't make sense to you sometimes, at that time, later on you'll realize, I see what my subconscious, or I see what I was trying to say to myself almost. It's a bit of a weird one. But yeah, so they start out in that bare bones kind of acoustic and vocal, and then I slowly build the production up, maybe add some drums or some electronic elements. But knowing that's not necessarily 100% my strong point, I then take those demos to other producers. On this EP there's quite a few: Nick Ward, Chris Lanzon, Campbell from Vacations, Les and Sam, and they kind of take these ideas that are sort of written songs, but then bring them to that next level of production and things like that. The majority of the EP was finished last year, around December time, but I think Close Your Eyes and Palm Reader was earlier this year. Through some like musical connections with my manager and stuff, a couple of producers in America got hold of the music, Les from Laney and my friend Sam from Octobertooth, and they kind of just took, the songs are pretty much written, but they just took 3 of them and just kind of made the production way better. Personally, I'm pretty happy with it. Hey. Again, I don't know, I just feel like thematically, embracing those faults and stuff, I think any artist always looks at their work and sees things that are wrong with it. But again, I think it just leans back into that thought process of just like, yeah, there's certain moments where I'm not super happy with my voice, to be honest, and I would have changed certain things, but I hope that's part of the appeal. Yeah, visual identity is an interesting one, and I think especially internet, social media, blah blah, is becoming way more prevalent for most like musicians. I had this sort of epiphany that I should just see myself as an artist, and whatever practice that is, whether that's like graphic design or video or music, to me, I just want to see it as one medium, you know what I mean? So I have these ideas for music and what that should sound like, but I also really want to push myself to see, like, can I make a short film with that? Can I make these music videos? How good can they be? And so yeah, it's really, really integral to the part, like to the creative process, and again to the collaboration, working with my friend J-Mol and kind of being like, okay, these are the ideas and the themes, then how can we take this to the visual medium, and hopefully people can not only connect with the music more, but kind of maybe hopefully take something different out of it as well. So I think sometimes when music is placed in a different context with film, you can get a different idea of what it might mean to you, I hope. I've got all the scans, like, I thought that was kind of cool for people to see the actual like work that goes into it, even if it's like, yeah, so it's literally like 1,000 scans.
Shit.
It's a lot of ink.
So is it like a stop like
basically, yeah, we just film it with an aperture performing in like the dark, and then we're like, oh, how can we take this to the next level? And so we printed all of the scans and then did a mix of like stop motion and just putting that video of the scans over the top and doing the different filters like darken or exclusion or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, it turned out pretty cool. So check it out. But yeah, it's literally like 1,000 something scans, and I had to write down like what the minute was, and it was nuts, dude. I had to do it in 3 days, and so I literally, there's 2 printers there. There's like another printer in the other room, and so one was just printing, I was just continuously scanning, and I was just here like a psychopath, just like moving the scanner, and like imagine being like, what is happening? But we got it done. So yeah, that's my paper flex. Like, sorry, environment, but like the impact is worth it. It's pretty fire. So. That's a good question. I'm gonna answer it with 2, unfortunately. Sorry. First would be if they look kind of like edgier, I'd probably play WoW, because I just feel like that's fairly immediate and a bit more yelly. But if they seem like they could be into the softer leanings, I would play Forever. And I think those are the top 2, and they kind of encapsulate what's happening in my music and what I'm trying to say. Ooh, that's a good question. I think probably the line in Forever, where I'm kind of yelling. It's just like, you're so beautiful, I'm living in your sunlight, far from the world, no more getting tongue-tied. It's pretty straight, like, it's, what's the word, hard on the sleeve, and I'm not really trying to hide behind like some crazy metaphor, which I kind of dig. Sometimes when I hear music, it seems a bit like we're scratching on the surface of what they want to say, but sometimes I just want to like hear it and yell it, and I think that vocal and that lyric match really well. Man, I hope so. Hey, I think, just got COVIDed, and then there's sort of this backlog of gigs, so like people that released 12 months ago kind of like locked in for gigs that would go around my release, you know what I mean? But yeah, definitely the plan and trying to make it happen as soon as possible, but just have to see how it all goes down. I think it's time to bring the band in. So I had a band for the music video WoW, and that's kind of the plan, is to keep, basically just like a 4-piece band with myself being the front man, and kind of just take these songs hopefully to the next level of like energy, and just think little things like having live drums, having live guitar, I think would make these songs hit really hard. think the artists that I keep coming back to, Radiohead and Kanye West. Those two have just been throughout my whole life. And yeah, doesn't matter how like my age or situation, like I can just relate to their music in some way. Maybe Dijon or Remy Wolf. Both of those artists are like my favorite artists at the moment, and I think similar-ish worlds. So it could be cool if they're down. If you're out there, you know where I am. Probably is My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. I'm wearing a hoodie right now, but if I was not, I could show you that I have a tattoo of the ballerina. And yeah, I just think that album is just the peak of cohesiveness, but also just pushing a genre to its absolute limits. And also collaboration was 100% key on that album as well. I reckon Liquor Store by Remy Wolf has to be my favorite. It is, that album, Juno, is crazy good in my opinion. I really would love to do like some sort of like 90s thing, maybe Train Spotting or something, like just something kind of weirdly in that time period. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that. I'm gonna go with Miley. I'd say it's probably like some sort of Shania Twain. That was the album that was played in my household the most. Saturdays were for cleaning the house, and Mum would put on the Shania Twain greatest hits, of which there are many because she's a fantastic artist, and so I'm sure one of them would be my first song. I actually think my first concert was like some sort of there used to be this place in Blacktown that probably is still there called Masonic Hall, and all the pop punk bands would play there, and it was like very house showy. And I probably saw my friend's band called Thesis, who was sick, and that drummer's now in Trophy Eyes, so like they're still doing it. But yeah, probably like a house show randomly. Okay, I'm gonna have to say Kids See Ghosts at the Flognor Festival 2018 or 2019. I think it's the only time they've ever played live, and the chemistry was crazy. The time slot was perfect. My intoxication level was at the perfect amount of just remembering everything but being a bit like carefree. And yeah, that's like a highlight, not just a concert highlight, but that is a life highlight. That is like the peak of probably where my life will get. So yeah, it was great. Honestly, it was probably like a So Fresh Hits of Autumn situation. Yeah, I've only recently garnered taste, but for the first 20 years wasn't looking good, so yeah. I was gonna say Lover, but then obviously it's like Spicy Lover. I don't know, I'm gonna roll with that. Back in my boy band days, I was previously in a pop rock outfit. We played a couple of sold out shows at the Enmore Theatre with Australian band 5 Seconds of Summer, and that was still like just the craziest moment, because I think at that time we'd only played like 4 or 5 shows, and it was pretty much just like, and I was 18 or 19, and I don't know, it's just a weird, like, now I understand because I'm on the grind. I'm like, oh, okay, like I see how you get to that level, but at that time it literally was just like, boom, here's like 2,500 people, whatever, and your acoustic guitar, and you've actually only played live like 5 times, so good luck. So it was a pretty crazy experience, and I still possibly have not recovered. Britney Spears, yeah, Justin Timberlake. Recently, obviously, no offense to JT in the camp, but I feel like he's become very uncool, which sucks, because his music's great. Obviously, not the newer stuff, but the older stuff, bang on, man. And I pumped that stuff, and I think, yeah, I was listening to it with a friend, actually Nick Ward. I was pulling out. He's like, bro, I've never listened to Justin Timberlake and I don't back him. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, this is iconic, and this like soundtrack to generation, even if it was like a generation past, it still like just hits. Like Mirror is probably one of the best songs ever written, in my opinion, and it goes for like bloody half an hour or something, but the whole time you're into it. So yeah, shout out JT. I'm still here backing you, brother. Yeah, I'm probably going to go back to the collaboration answer, which was just Dijon and Remy Wolf. Either, like, anyone that will take me, I'm pretty available, but, like, Dijon and Remy Wolf would be the goal, because those shows would be so fun. locally, I'm going to say either Golden Vessel or Morat. I think Golden Vessel's a big, like, backstage, kind of just, like, creating these crazy records and maybe not even getting the exact recognition he deserves, because he's actually, I feel like, has defined a certain sound for a certain genre in Australia and even overseas. And yeah, Morat, I think, just came through, especially around the time of Better. Like, I think Better was just like, all right, everyone needs to actually do better to get on that level. Take it easy, and even if things don't feel like they're moving as quickly as you'd like, just think about all the places that we've gone and all the progress that we've made. Because yeah, I think small bits of progress, kind of, when you look back, like, it's hard to see. When you look back long enough, you're like, far out, I've come a pretty long way. Playing one of my first gigs to, like, not many people, but I still had just the absolute best time. And yeah, I don't know, there's something about live, playing an instrument live, and even if there's not a lot of people there, but like if one person, there could be 100 people in the room, and if one person's like into it, yeah, that's just like the best feeling. And I think when that sort of happened, it just sort of clicked to me, like, oh, okay, like, I want to be a public facing person, and like I love being on stage and doing all that sort of stuff. So yeah.